What's going on, guys? It's Pro Player here, and today I'm going to be explaining the zombies storyline. Now, I know there are a bunch of videos out there explaining it, but so far I haven't found any that explain the story from World at War to Mob of the Dead. And the gameplay here is just diarized. I don't know if you noticed this, but at some points it says I have Meal Kick. I don't know why, it just kind of does. And it just keeps fading away. I think it just did now. Anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna be explaining the zombie storyline from Mob of the Dead to, well, not from Mob of the Dead, but, you know, from World at War to Mob of the Dead. And, yeah. So, storyline, I will name the maps, off during the story. Like, if I'm explaining something, I'll just say what map it is, just so you guys can have an idea of what I'm talking about. And I'll try to make the storyline as, simple as possible. It is kind of complicated, but well, let's get right into it. So during the 1930s Prohibition era in America, mob boss Salvatore De Luca built up a large empire from gambling, prostitution, and the distribution of alcohol. Sal was eventually captured by the police, along with fellow mobsters Billy Handsome, Michael Finney O'Leary, Albert the Weasel Arlington. Yeah, okay, that's the three. All of the mobsters were imprisoned at Alcatraz Island, where they would serve hefty sentences. Arlington, however, devised a plan to escape the island on a makeshift aircraft, designed by himself. He somehow convinced Sal, Billy, and Finn to participate in the escape plan, but soon enough to joint the effort between them. Sorry, I said that wrong, but soon enough the joint effort between them descended into quarrels and fighting, and after numerous complications, the three mobsters became bitter towards Arlington. Oh, and by the way, I'm getting this from Call of Duty Wiki. I'll put a link in the description. The plan was quickly abandoned, and the plane was never constructed, much to the frustration of the mobsters. Still angry at Arlington for the failure of the plan, Sal, Billy, and Finn constructed makeshift weapons and lured Arlington onto the roof of the prison, where they attacked him and let him bleed to death on the night of December 31st, 1933, which is why there are fireworks on Mob of the Dead. After they're done, for the murder of Arlington, the three were sentenced to death by electric chair. The execution came out on January 19th, 1934. After their death sentence, the group is sent back in time on the night of December 31st, 1933. They are without any memory of what happened before, and they awaken in a nightmarish iteration of Alcatraz prison, which is inhabited entirely by zombies, and the lone guard of a name by Brutus, which is the warden. Having died before any of the others, Arlington has been trapped there for longer and knows about everything there, because he was murdered before they got put in the electric chair. Arlington feels that anything they did was futile, but nevertheless, the mobsters build the plan that Arlington designed and attempt to escape. Their escape is foiled after they crash on the Golden Gate Bridge. This happens every time they try, making escape impossible. With no escape, the monsters attempt something else. They learn that, in reality, they were all dead, and their escape plan never came to be. Remembering everything, the monsters once again set out to kill Arlington. At this point, the outcome can happen in two different ways. Sal, Billy, and Finn can either kill Arlington, in which the cycle continues, or Arlington kills the three other mobsters, to which the cycle has been broken. What happens after that? We don't know yet. Well, at least what happens to the mobsters. So this is the main part of the story. This is, there are a lot of important characters from here on, like Dr. Maxis, Dr. Richtofen, Samantha, and so on. So Dr. Maxis, or Ludwig Maxis, the leader of Group 935 and Group 935 itself, were tasked with creating an army of super soldiers and new technology for the government project entitled Doris, or the Giant. In his experiments, Maxis used element 115, which is also important, supplied from a meteorite in Japan, to make more of the zombies, or super soldiers. Zombies, however, couldn't be controlled and would always be killed when they went crazy. While this was going on, Max's senior assistant, Dr. Edward Richtofen, was testing 115 on live-in test subjects to create his super soldiers at a Siberian facility called the Dead. In his experiments, Richtofen used Takeo Masaki, Nikolai Belinsky, and an unknown Mexican known as Max. When Richtofen accidentally killed Max, he replaced him with Tank Dempsey. Dempsey was the leader of the Marine recon team that was sent in to rescue Dr. Peter McCain, an OSS spy sent to infiltrate Group 935. The recon team had to traverse from an American airfield and find McCain in the Witnessatorium in Berlin, which is Verrector Zombie Verrect, the map. The team was killed by zombies, and Dempsey was the only survivor of the mission. The testing affected each of the subjects' minds, making Dempsey extremely aggressive, quieting Takeo into only reciting Japanese proverbs, and making Nikolai functionless without vodka. It also had the side effect of erasing their recent memories, making them forget how Richtofen captured them and what he did to them. Maxis also invented 115 powered teleporters, but they would also always destroy anything sent through them. All these experiments were done with his assistant, Dr. Richtofen. Without Maxis, Richtofen and another group, 935 member, Dr. Schuster, would complete the first successful teleportation with a walnut using a very small amount of element 115. When Maxis found out about this, he criticized Richtofen for not working on his project and that teleporting a walnut wasn't a big deal. Maxis then told Richtofen that he was going to make a deal with the Nazi Party for money and equipment in exchange for weapons. These new weapons Group 935 created were also powered by 115. Maxis promised to mass-produce the DG-2, or Wonder Wolf, to his superiors, but his growing because he was getting really close to Sophia, slowed his progress and infuriated Richtofen, who was secretly plotting to overthrow him and take control of Group 935. Richtofen continued his teleporter tests with Schuster behind Maxis' back. Richtofen was also the first human test subject and was first sent to the MPD, or the pyramid thing, on the moon. And this is obviously on the map Moon, which he believed to be of alien origin. When he touched it, he felt static and started hearing whispering. This is basically when he started to go crazy. He was then teleported to a jungle, or Shangri-La. His assistant, Dr. Schuster, got worried back at the giant, or Durice. So he got worried and planned to scrap the teleporter because Richtofen had been gone for a few days. But Richtofen returned as Schuster was talking about it, and he then told him that there was work to be done. Richtofen sounded much crazier, and Schuster noticed this change. Dr. Schuster and another scientist, Dr. Groff, or Group 935 scientist, Dr. Groff, were stationed at the moon on Griffin Station and were trying to figure out how to work the MPD. They could never figure it out, but then when Schuster killed a rat, its soul was absorbed by a glass vial protruding from the machine. The pair then proceeded to kill many people until the device was filled with souls. The bodies were left on the moon, leaving them open to zombification. When they finished, they told Richtofen, they contacted Richtofen, they told Richtofen that, it was filled with souls, and then Richtofen told him that he was finally going to get rid of Maxis, indicating that the two scientists knew about his plan. Without Maxis knowing, Richtofen had already mastered teleportation, while Maxis is still trying to master it. Maxis was getting frustrated that he could not send a subject to the mainframe, so he used his daughter Samantha, his dog, who was named Fluffy. He used her as a test subject, but once again failed. The dog was teleported, but instead of being destroyed like the past test subjects, she was zombified, which created the first Hellhound. When Samantha came running in and started questioning her dad about what happened to her dog, Maxis tried to stop her, calm her down, and get her out of the room. Where am I? Sorry. Oh, okay. So yeah. Richtofen then saw his chance to continue his plan by locking Maxis and his daughter in the room with the Hellhound. He then activated the teleporter, which he thought killed Samantha and Maxis. Little did Richtofen know that Maxis' teleporter actually worked and sent Samantha to the moon base. The pyramid was open because remember, the pyramid is open because it's filled with souls. So when Samantha got to the moon, in her fear, she ran into the MPD and became the one to control the zombies. When Richtofen was informed of what happened, he warned the pair of scientists about the Hellhound, and then told them to find a way to get Maxis. Turns out Maxis had also been teleported to the moon, but in some sort of tunnel. He was found, and they let him approach his daughter to calm her down, who was still in the MPD. After apologizing for his actions, Maxis told Samantha to kill all of Group 935, all of the Group 935 members for betraying him and he was then shot. Samantha then proceeded to fulfill her father's request by unleashing the zombies. And by the way, Maxis' exact words were, "Kill them all." Richtofen retreated with Dempsey, Nikolai, and Takeo to Shinonuma to think things through. By the way, that's the map, Shinonuma, obviously. When the zombies attacked Richtofen, he realized that Samantha will stop at nothing to seek revenge. Richtofen planned to recover all the equipment to take control of the zombies. Richtofen then took the group to Doris, which had then been abandoned since the zombie takeover. The group used the Wonder WaW DG2's 115 to overcharge the teleporter, making it capable of time travel. Richtofen was apparently unaware of this possibility until he tried it. He didn't seem to care that he and his 3 partners had been teleported to an abandoned theater in Berlin, Germany, which is Kino der Toten, sometime after the 1960s. Richtofen knew that about the theater, as it was the place where he had presented his teleporter to the followers years before. Richtofen had apparently traveled there to receive a secret weapon. Previously, the project was stolen by the Germans, the Thunder Gun. Sometime prior to the character's arrival at the Soviet Cosmodrome, there we go, an Ascension scientist, by the way, this is at Ascension now, Yuri Krevchesky, I think that's how you pronounce it, was transferred to work on sending monkeys into space, as known as Project Mercury, which he really did not want to do. His transfer was caused by his superior Gersh, who holds a grudge against after relieving of his duty from Project Thunder, the creation of the Thunder Gun. So basically, this scientist made him start working on putting monkeys into space, but he wanted to work on the Thunder Gun. As the radio messages progress, Yuri notices the teddy bear and the Matryoshka dolls and wonders how a child could be let into the station. A child then slowly drives Yuri insane. This is Samantha. She's getting into his head. She can't do that now because, she's in control of the zombies and she's in the MPP. Yuri, in a state of insanity, finishes the Gersh device and has Gersh activated, letting in the zombies and trapping Gersh in the Aether, which is another dimension that Samantha's in. Okay. Yuri soon realizes his mistake and is heard screaming at the end of the last recording. After the events of Kino der Toten, the main characters somehow reach the abandoned Soviet Cosmodrome, which is, Ascension. The characters then hear Gersh, who tells them that the mechanism must be repaired. He is referring to the Casimir mechanism, which must be repaired by completing different tasks. After all the tasks are completed and the mechanism repaired, Gersh is freed, leaving Samantha free to be ridden of in the Aether. So that's basically Ascension Easter egg. While the events of Ascension are occurring in Russia, the events of 5 are also unfolding in the Pentagon. The map 5. A piece of intel reveals that all Wonder WaW materials were to be moved into American-controlled installations. as a mainframe is visible behind one of the windows in 5, and it is apparent that it was moved there as per this order. While John F. Kennedy, Robert McNamara, I had totally pronounced that wrong, Fidel Castro, and Richard Nixon are negotiating, zombies break into the Pentagon with only the 4 of them left to fight them. While fighting, they call Dempsey, Takeo, Nikolai, and Richtofen using 3 red telephones spread across the Pentagon. Their calls show that they're running out of ammo and will soon be defeated. As they continue fighting, the 3 super soldier test subjects slowly regain their memories. Takeo is the first to remember, and remarks himself that someday, when the group is finished fighting zombies, Richtofen will get what he deserves. He also shows that his observation of the other 2. He believes Nikolai drinks vodka because he wishes to forget the past and can't function when he remembers it. Maybe this means that Nikolai has no hope. Tank, on the other hand, is slowly making progress, as he remembers that he'd seen Richtofen before the fight at Shinomuma. Takeo notes his shifting memories and believes Tank is finally remembering what Richtofen did to him. Sometime in the present, George A. Romero stumbled upon Group 935's research while making a World War II film. He and the cast took a ship out to an abandoned lab in Siberia, which is called the Dead. After he and the ship's crew were zombified, only the cast, made up of Sarah Michelle Gellar, Robert Englund, Danny Trejo, and Michael Rooker, remained. This set the stage for Call of the Dead. After the Kashmir mechanism was prepared in Ascension, it overloaded the teleporter and sent the original characters, Richtofen, Takeo, Nikolai, and Tank Dempsey. It sent the original characters to a Group 935 civilian in Siberia, which is Call of the Dead, where they were trapped behind a locked door. The celebrities then proceeded to help them escape to paradise. By the celebrities, it's, Michael Rooker and all of them. Richtofen then asks the celebrities to help him obtain the Golden Rod, which they did. Richtofen thanks the group by giving them the DG-2 to help them fight the zombies. It is unknown what became of the other celebrities after helping the group escape. Shangri-La, however, does not live up to its name, as its inhabitants could have been all zombified before the group's arrival. Richtofen now states that this is the last step to controlling the world before he is teleported there. The temple houses a mining facility filled with element 105, which is why the inhabitants were zombified. Prior to the group's arrival to Shangri-La, 2 explorers, Brock and Gary, went on an expedition to prove their theories on Argotha. Brock later figures out that the temple wasn't built by an ancient civilization, but by the people in the modern era interpreting it. After investigating the temple, the pair accidentally activated the temple's time travel and died in the resulting zombie attack. The group travels back in time and helps the pair survive. The pair's changing fate is illustrated by the radio that changes message and location as the group helps them. When the group finally created the focusing stone, it lands on an altar with Richtofen's name on it, meaning that the temple was, in fact, another Group 935 facility, and explaining Richtofen's knowledge of its location. The 2 explorers are then sent back to the moment they discover the temple, indicating that they're stuck in a never-ending loop. Now in possession of both the Golden Rod and the Focusing Stone, Richtofen believes that he can now control the zombies. The group then travels to Area 51 so they can get to the moon via a teleporter to a top-secret moon facility named Griffin Station. When the group reaches Area 51, it is already overrun. Due to the element 115 on the moon, astronauts and scientists sent there have been zombified before the group's arrival. The people killed by Groff and Schuster contributed even more to the zombie horde. Richtofen then has the group complete the MPD by adding the Focusing Stone and the Golden Rod. When the device is completed, it opens up to reveal Samantha Maxis suspended in the air. As it turns out, the device acts like a prison. Okay, I don't know if I said this already, but the people killed by Groff and Schuster contribute even more to the zombie horde back on the moon, because they were open to zombification. Okay, so Richtofen completes the MPD, device completed, open to Samantha. So the device acts like a prison and keeps her cryogenically frozen so she can be used to control the zombies. Richtofen goes to a terminal to power up the golden rod and the focusing stone, which he fuses together. However, he encounters Dr. Maxis inside the terminal, who tries to stop him. Richtofen switches souls with Samantha to gain control of the zombies. Richtofen finally thinks everything has gone his way until Takeo, Tank, and Nikolai decide to stop him. Dr. Maxis, sensing Richtofen's betrayal, prepared a backup plan in case Richtofen got this far. The group then launches 3 missiles located on the moon, which destroys Earth's atmosphere, and hopes that this will lessen the size of Richtofen's zombie army, and leaving the group along with Samantha stuck on the moon. Okay. As these events unfolded, this is, by the way, Nuketown now. As these events unfolded, a group of radiation scientists investigated the ruins of a former nuclear test site in Nevada, where the undead have been spotted, forcing the scientists to send a distress signal intercepted by Hangar 18. Among these scientists was Marlton Johnston, who took shelter in a fallout shelter to escape from the zombies. CIA and CDC agents were then dispatched into the site in a rescue attempt, resulting in a struggle when the zombie population located there. While the CIA and CDC were in conflict against the zombies, Marlton left the shelter and escaped. He came across a worn-out bus driven by a robotic driver, which is the transit bus, which transported him away from the site, allowing Marlton to escape. After the CIA and CDC agents died, one of the 3 missiles launched by Maxis landed there, obliterating the region. The missile launch left Earth a post-apocalyptic crumbling wasteland littered with zombies, with survivors bonding together to form small survival camps. Among them was Abigail Misty Barrierton, I can't pronounce his name, Marlton Johnson, Samuel J. Stuhlinger, and Russman, who piloted an outdated bus driven by a robotic driver through the decaying remains of the United States. This is transit, by the way, or Green Run, where they were contacted by Maxis at the former Hanford site, who revealed his calculations for the missiles were incorrect, which resulted in the Earth's destructions. Maxis then explained his Plan B, which would be to activate global polarization devices, such as the one in Hanford, to combat Richtofen's forces. Meanwhile, Richtofen enlisted the help of Stuhlinger, who is capable of hearing him, to activate the tower in his favor. After either's objectives were completed, Richtofen's or Maxis's, Richtofen teleported the group to 2 crumbling skyscrapers in Shanghai, China. This is Dire Eyes, by the way. Samuel begins to argue with Richtofen, stating that he doesn't want to listen to him anymore. However, Richtofen warns him of the flesh, in which Samuel replies to the group that the group would kill him if they knew his secret. Suddenly, a horde of zombies attacks Samuel, but he is saved by Russman, who is tackled by a minion, or the crawler things, that Richtofen sends on Dire Eyes, and is killed and eaten. Marlton and Missy arrive in the elevator and rescue Samuel. They travel to the roof where they are overrun and killed. However, Richtofen would then rewind the events that unfolded there until the second polarization device was activated. While fighting zombies, Samuel would constantly groan and make inhuman-like noises, possibly meaning that he may become a zombie himself. The group then successfully activated the device. Okay, so that's the storyline so far. Thanks for watching. I think this video is like, oh my god, it's almost half an hour long now. So, I'm gonna end it right now. Thank you guys for watching. If you wanna read this on your own, then I have a link to where I got this from in the description. I basically read it out word for word, except I explained it a bit more. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you want to, and I think I'm gonna make another storyline video either after DLC 3 or 4. Maybe I'll just update it as I go. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. It has been Real Playa.